in the fight.
Is jacked. That dog's got shoulder pain.
Kirby Smart's going to join us shortly. Talk about how the Dogs have worked on some things that plagued them against Ole Miss. We'll break down the bracket, try our best to clear up some of the confusion about how all of this is going to work, give you a little bit of projection, and have $150,000.
Yeah, this kid played high school soccer, very athletic, jumped over the fence here from Indiana. What a dog. I think there's a chance here. He's got a shot. It's going to be an expensive Saturday, I think.
Thought I heard Colts fan too. Back in the day.
We need one.
DoorDash counting us down to kickoff on ABC. Quinn Ewers and the Horns going into Fayetteville to take on the Razorbacks. Remember, Razorbacks, they've already got one UT in the SEC this year. They gave Tennessee its only loss there. Sark's first season didn't necessarily go that well when he went to visit the Hogs. And they've got a rich history against each other. Texas and Arkansas, 1969. President Nixon was going to bring a presidential plaque to declare the winner of the 1-versus-2 game and champion. That's Bill Montgomery and Chuck Dicus. Hey, this wishbone error, the wishbone pass was like 6 times a game. So it's a big deal they had a completion here. Jim Bertelsen goes in. Tom Campbell, the son of the Longhorns defensive coordinator Mike Campbell, the game-sealing interception. Texas won despite 6 turnovers. Got that flag. 2000, the running game in the 4th quarter, the Cotton Bowl. Michael Jenkins running through the Horns. Pigs outscored them 17-0. Recognize him, Kurt? That's Darren McFadden. Cedric Cobbs. Cedric Cobbs. McFadden's fine. The right river. We're going to win this game. Horns down. And then I mentioned this. Sark's first year. That Rocket Sanders. Good job. Good call. Good call. Now with South Carolina. And then A.J. Green, you know, the Hogs ran for 333 yards that night, beat them 40-21. They stormed the field. They're not really fond of the Longhorns. There should be some intensity when this game kicks off this afternoon.
Rivalries matter in college football, and this one runs deep.
We all know about the rivalry and what it means. A lot of like older guys, maybe Texas and those Arkansas on the road, a place like that, on the ground, packed house. It's not good to a place to play.
It's a block to the outside, and he will take it in.
That was actually filthy on this shoot. You have to defend a lot of offense. His ability to make all throws down the field, and then when you have a guy like him running it, you can straight the championship.
He's going down.
Our defense continues to force turnovers.
They're really big, really simple, but they play hard.
I think we just know that's really good about the future, so they can play the conference today. Both teams kind of understand a little what the game is going to be when we go in there and follow our hearts out.
Taking a look at today's Goodyear road test, the Texas defense has been elite in limiting explosive plays, but perhaps because of some of the struggles the Arkansas defense has had, you overlook the fact that the Pigs can get you and get you quickly. Rushes of 10 yards, completion of 20 yards, those are explosive plays. Arkansas has been among the best teams in the country. Now, they have gotten blown out at home a couple of times by LSU and by Ole Miss, but they'll be ready for Texas.
Yeah, they definitely will. We talked about this at the beginning of the show, and we use the coach Lou Holtz when you're really trying to win something or spoil something, especially for somebody that you hate. I learned yesterday that Arkansas's hatred for Texas is very real. I did some research on it. In the early 1990s, the athletic director for Arkansas, Mr. Broyles, he left the Southwest Conference because he thought that Texas had too much say. Now, he comes over to the SEC, been here for 32 years. Texas comes into their conference, and at the end of the season, where Texas is ranked 3rd, there would be nothing better for this Arkansas team and Coach Pittman than to smack the Longhorns in the mouth. Now, with that being said, running back Quinton Jackson is back for Arkansas. Taylor Green from Texas would love to have a massive game. It's almost setting up for Arkansas to be some spoilers here at home in a massive rivalry, Nick.
I think the big thing is the defense. You know, Arkansas's defensive struggle. They've given up so many explosive plays and so many points. And I think one of the underrated parts of the Texas team is how good their defense really is. It's the #1 defense in the SEC. They get turnovers. They don't give up big plays. So I think those things are really hard to overcome.
I think I agree with Pat as far as the hate is concerned. They're going to have to match. Texas is going to have to match Arkansas's energy. But the video we saw, a common theme for Arkansas was the running game.
Yeah.
And Arkansas, now that Bobby Petrino's back as the OC, they're number 4 in the conference in rushing offense, averaging over 190 yards per game. The other factor is time of possession. When you can run the ball, you can control the clock. I think that's going to be their recipe for success. If they're going to beat Texas today, first is going to be the attitude they come to the field with. Just like the attitude Texas dealt with when Georgia came to Austin. That's what they're going to have to deal with, and then run the ball and control the clock.
Fayetteville, like anywhere else in the SEC, is such an advantage, especially at night. This one's an early kick. But they beat Tennessee. You know, they beat Tennessee at home. That's what they're capable of doing. But, Coach, I agree with you about the secondary. Sam Pittman came out and said it's basically, he's not telling you how many guys, it's open tryouts basically for the secondary.
Yeah.
This week, getting ready for Quinn Ewers, who's coming off a career game against Florida. So I think that's the biggest concern I have is I think Quinn Ewers and those receivers have a monster day.
Two things that makes Texas special. Texas is the only team in the nation that is number in about top 10 in rushing offense, pass defense, pass offense. And they won 9 straight road games and then tough to win a road. Now Texas is my pick to win the national championship. That's my story, and that's what I'm sticking with.
That's his own story. Sticking to it. If Arkansas gets him today,
That Texas is winning the national championship.
That would be great for Coach Pittman, though. You think about that offseason, yeah, just everything going forward. I mean, and Alabama Tech, they hate them.
And when you say like a rivalry game, like honestly, backyard brawl, in fact, it's one thing to show Richard Nixon in 1969, but you show 2021 when Arkansas went in there and just blew them up. And it was Sark. It was Sark's team. I think that gets their attention.
So Sark had 11 guys that are still on the team from that particular loss.
Yeah.
9 of them are
I
starting.
think it's
So-
more real.
Yeah, I think they understand that this is a
Yeah.
real thing.
what do you got against Richard Nixon?
1969.
You know where Jaquindon Jackson started his college career?
Where's that?
Quarterback at the University of Texas.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, they'll come up and maybe.
Here we go. He went to Utah. Now he's back there.
Yeah, we talked about the game in 1969. That was 1 versus 2. So it got us to thinking which teams have met the most often as AP top 2 teams. So 1 versus 2.
Florida State, Miami.
No.
No. Okay.
Texas, Oklahoma.
No.
It's a good guess.
That's a good guess. That would have.
In the regular season or just in general?
USC, Notre Dame.
No.
USC and somebody.
No.
Alabama, LSU.
Bingo. We were there last week.
Alabama. It's his
Answer
fault.
is Alabama.
Alabama, LSU.
3 times.
Really?
Really? I thought it was West
Judgment.
Virginia.
That was the judgment day.
They really
I should have known that.
never discuss politics, pass defense.
Arkansas. That was good. That's my question. What did you change? It used to be religion in there in the middle too.
Yeah.
You can talk
count, man.
Here's what we got in store for you today. Great triple header coming up with football all day long, and it will start with that Texas-Arkansas game. 3 versus unranked. LSU and Florida in the middle, and then Tennessee and Georgia tonight. You know, it's not the only rivalry game in the state of Arkansas today. From Fayetteville, we'll go to the Battle of the Ravine. Ouachita Baptist against Henderson State. They are located 3,696 feet apart. You know, you golfers, the golf coaches have reached one stadium to the other. Driver, 3 irons. You can get from one stadium to the other. You just walk. Yeah, you just walk across the highway there in Arkadelphia, highway number 67, and you're right there. It'll depend on who's hit the driver there. Well, yeah, it'd take me like 7 shots. You also have the Monon Bell, Wabash, and DePaul. They played for that big locomotive for
Indiana football state.
and how about the Cortica jug, Ithaca and Portland now? They bought a milk jug for $2 back in the 50s. They put the scores of each game on. They filled up now 2 jugs are on the 3rd jug.
Ira Rossio used to fill it up with moonshine back when he was in Italy. Booze bag.
I wouldn't want to look in there and see what that might have been filled up with at that time. Cincinnati's taking on Iowa State tonight. The Cyclones have dropped their last 2. They've fallen out of the college football playoff rankings. But, man, they have a loyal following at at Jack Price Stadium, and as Jen Lano joined us, Jen, the connection between fans and team not always dependent on a record.
That's right, Reese. Maybe you saw this viral video a few weeks ago of a fan making his way through the Iowa State tailgate scene wearing a Star Wars Darth Vader costume. It was never meant to be anything more than a funny way to participate in the Iowa State blackout. But you know, Star Wars at its core, guys, it's a story about fathers and sons and legacies. And as it turns out, so is this story. Troy DeSchutte has been tailgating an Iowa State football game since he was a boy.
Yeah, we need more stuff.
So naturally, he was eager to share his love of Cyclone football with his 3 children, beginning with his oldest son, Carson. But it wasn't just football. They also bonded over their mutual affection for Star Wars.
The Jedi were the good guys. That was why he thought it was cool to be a Jedi.
He was my Jedi Knight. Honestly, he had a heart of gold. He'd give you the shirt off his back. Love you.
Love you, Claire.
He believed in the Force in a way that only a 5-year-old can. Carson literally thought that the reason he couldn't make the lightsaber jump across the room into his hand is because he didn't believe enough.
In May of 2010, Heather DeSchutte was driving their 3 children, Carson, Chase, and Claire, to Carson's karate class when a pickup truck hit their minivan.
3 cars all mangled after a messy accident, and from the looks of things, this minivan took the brunt of the damage.
My phone rang, and the woman says, "I'm the house nurse at Mercy. We need you to come here immediately." They took me in to see Carson, and they said Carson had suffered a cervical dislocation, and you can't save Carson. I sat on a chair next to him, and I propped the phone up on a pillow in his lap, and I held his hand, and we watched Star Wars. Because if you're gonna say goodbye, why not do it with what you both love?
As a result of their injuries, 5-month-old Claire and 5-year-old Carson both died. A few months later, still struggling with the enormous loss, Troy did something that would become a yearly Halloween tradition.
When Carson was younger, he was Anakin Skywalker. So I went out and I bought the Darth Vader costume. It started as just a way for me to connect with my son.
Last month, about 2 weeks before Halloween, Troy, now remarried, and his wife Michelle were headed to the Iowa State UCF game to cheer on the undefeated Cyclones.
The football team was wearing black uniforms. We were loading our truck. I said, maybe I should bring the Darth Vader costume. Maybe I'll throw it on, it'll be funny.
It was sitting out already for Halloween, and he thought, you know what, blackout game? We'll just grab it and we'll see what comes of it.
A little before 3, I snuck away to the truck and I put on the costume. We had a black Iowa State flag, and maybe I'd stand there while the team bus went by. It would kind of be funny.
It caught on right away, and we didn't see her probably for 2 hours.
I don't know how many pictures I took, but had to have been in the hundreds. Carson would love this. He would have loved the attention, but more so he would have loved just sort of the sheer joy on people's faces.
That night on the field, with the Cyclones On October 21st, Troy published a series of posts on X explaining who he was and why Darth